New DS7 Crossback vs Audi Q5 vs Volvo XC60. Shoot for the moon, they say, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. And why not indeed? It's good to have verve and ambition, and that's kind of where we find ourselves with DS. Not familiar with the brand? Here's a quick biography to bring you up to speed. DS began in 2009 as the premium sub-brand of Citroën, with its name taken from the beautiful, ahead of its time 1955 Citroën DS. In 2014, it became a brand in its own right, sitting above Citroën and Peugeot in the PSA Group hierarchy. So far, its range has consisted of models formerly badged as Citroëns. The 7 Crossback is the first car the brand has developed from scratch in its first large SUV, making it the most important DS to date. Is it any good? Well, we're about to find out. It's similar in size to the Audi Q5 and Volvo XC60 and, when specified with a 2.0-liter diesel engine and an all-but entry-level performance line trim, similar in price. So, we're retesting it against these two popular choices to find out if it's really heading for the moon or merely destined to languish somewhere in the ether. Driving, performance, ride, handling, refinement. Getting to the moon in any of these three might take you a while. They don't exactly feel rocket-powered, although they re no slouches, either. The Q5 is the quickest off the mark, leaving the XC60 following in its wake, despite the fact that the two have identical peak power and torque figures. There's not a huge amount in it, but the XC60 lacks that last morsel of punch, most likely due to its slushy 8-speed automatic gearbox. The Q5's 7-speed dual-clutch unit pings through its gears much more readily. The 7 Crossback has a similar 8-speed automatic gearbox to the XC60. It uses this to good effect but is hampered by the fact that it's the least powerful car here and front-wheel drive only. So, while the other two, with their standard four-wheel drive systems, whiz off smartly, the 7 Crossback loses time scrabbling around for purchase. Once rolling, it's a match for the XC60 but not quite the Q5. While the Q5's gearbox is responsive at speed, it's a pain when you're reparking. It needs a few miles per hour on the clock to engage properly, so when you're re-nudging carefully into a spot, the car tends to lurch disconcertingly towards nearby bumpers or walls. The XC60 has the opposite problem. Its use of a regular autobox means that it, like the 7 Crossback, is wonderfully smooth when parking or crawling in slow traffic. But it's the most frustrating of the three in kickdown. Boy, does it faff only for a second or so, but that seems an eternity when you have a pressing job to do, such as overtaking a dawdling car. It isn't something you simply get used to, either. You must learn to drive round the problem. The 7 Crossback doesn't have any gearbox vices, but it does have the least satisfying brakes. There's a lot of initial pedal travel and not much pressure, so it's all too easy to embarrass yourself with an overly abrupt halt. The Q5's firm brake pedal feels the most reassuring, while the XC60's is the easiest to modulate in stop-start traffic. All three cars stop effectively, though. The XC60's engine is quite clattery if it's running while you're stationary, but once it gets past 1,500 revolutions per minute the noise is less intrusive. It never entirely dries away, though. The 7 Crossback's engine is the roughest, although it's not so big that it will make you grimace. You just feel some vibration at idle and it sounds the coarsest under acceleration. Audi's engineers, on the other hand, must effect some kind of refinement alchemy upon their 4-cylinder diesel engines, because no other manufacturer seems able to produce anything as hushed as the 2.0 TDI unit. It emits nothing beyond a mild murmur, no matter how aggressively you poke it with your right foot. In fact, the Q5 is the quietest car all round. All three cars suffer some road noise, but, unlike in the others, it's only an issue over coarse surfaces in the Q5. The XC60 is far behind in this regard, while the 7 Crossback's figure, 19 and wheels generate the most drone over rougher roads. The XC60's large door mirrors tend to whip up wind noise from lower speeds than the others, but it doesn't really annoy. Wind noise intrudes the least in the Q5, while the 7 Crossback's harsher squall at higher speeds irks the most. All three cars have generally commendable ride comfort, but they are not perfect and you'll need to specify your suspension wisely. For the nearest thing to perfection, you'll want the Q5 with the optional, £2,000, air suspension. Thus equipped, it has easily the best ride of any large SUV. Our Q5, however, was on the standard passive comfort dynamic suspension, making it the firmest car in this test. As a result, it trips over particularly feisty fissures in town and shimmies the most along rippled sections of motorway. These are the extremes, though, generally. It's firm but compliant, and it's the least prone to seesawing up and down along undulating roads, something the 7 Crossback has a habit of doing. In this 2.0-liter diesel guise, the 7 Crossback comes as standard with an adaptive suspension system called Active Scan. This uses a camera to evaluate the road ahead and adjust the suspension's stiffness accordingly. In comfort mode, it's just too relaxed. It gets so floaty at times on the motorway that you can become quite overwhelmed by the gentle bobbing motion, and it's not significantly comfier than the Q5 on urban roads. Normal setting strikes a pretty happy balance. Fitted with optional, £1,500, air suspension, the XC60 rides well. We weren't enamored with this setup last time we tried it, but that was on a car in sporty R-design trim with 19-in wheels. The entry-level Momentum model here has smaller 18-in wheels, and its ride is significantly better. So, the XC60 is pillowy on the motorway and shaves the edges off all but the nastiest of bumps around town. The worst you'll find is that if you hit a succession of jagged peaks, a hollow resonance is channeled through the car's body. This is a rare occurrence, though, and it's more an uncouth sound than an uncomfortable sensation. The XC60 may be the most comfortable of our trio, but it's definitely not the keen driver's choice. There's something rather elastic about the way it reacts to your inputs, from its numb steering and lazy turn into its slumbering body control, which feels like it's playing catch-up with every change of direction. It's fine when you're simply ambling around, but the XC60 isn't a car that likes to be rushed. That isn't the case with a Q5. For a weighty SUV, it displays sweetly adjustable, balanced handling that allows you to place the car with precision. Okay, there isn't a great deal of feel filtering up from the road to the steering wheel, but the build-up of weight as you wind on lock is linear and wholly likable. In addition, the Q5 has easily the best body control, although you still sense it swaying left and right. On range-topping S-line models, you can opt for stiffer S-Sport suspension at no extra cost. We take this over the standard setup, because it provides better body control for no real penalty in ride comfort, but it isn't available on lower spec models. Where does this leave the 7 Crossback? Somewhere in between, but closer to the XC60's way of doing things. Its body leans as much as the XC60's, but it hangs on more gamely through corners, albeit with less traction on the way out, due to its lack of four-wheel drive. As grip alternates between the front wheels under acceleration, the steering wheel tugs about in an off-putting way. Otherwise, the 7 Crossback is easy to drive but not that much fun. Behind the wheel. Driving position, visibility, build quality. Broadly speaking, all of our SUVs are virtuous in this department. Each has a height-adjustable driver's seat and a steering wheel that adjusts for rake and reach, but the XC60 reigns supreme. It's the only one with electric seat height adjustment, its steering wheel has the greatest range of movement and its driver's seat is the most comfortable. Like the 7 Crossback S, the seat also has electric lumbar adjustment, which is a £250 option on the Q5. Which is better of the other two depends on your build. Some of our testers found the Q5's steering wheel could do with a touch more height and reach extension, while others noted that its driver's door armrest is too short to use if you retall and have the seat right back. Nevertheless, the Q5's driver's seat, like the XC60S, provides first-rate support, particularly in corners. Less so the 7 Crossback S. Its rather narrow seat doesn't hold you as well through corners, leaving you hanging onto the steering wheel. Otherwise, though, it impresses, with a fine range of adjustment and comfy armrests. The 7 Crossback comes with a configurable digital instrument display. You can have a large sat-nav map, media, the trip computer and the usual array of instruments. A similar setup is available in the XC60 for £375, but Audi's virtual cockpit isn't available on the Q5 and S seat trim. What you do get in the Q5 are physical buttons to change the climate control. This might sound obvious, but the XC60 and 7 Crossback require you to fiddle around with the touchscreen to perform simple acts such as changing the temperature. All 3 cars are relatively easy to see out of and are fitted with rear parking sensors as standard. The Q5 also gets front parking sensors, while a rear view camera is optional on all 3. An important aspect of SUVs like this is how premium they feel inside. The Q5 unquestionably has the finest finish, with millimeter-perfect gaps between trims and buttons that click meticulously. The XC60 is still right up there in terms of material quality, though, and most will find its minimalist look more elegant. The 7 Crossback is less cohesive in its design than the other 2, and while material quality in the main is decent, it's pretty lowly in places. Space and practicality. Front space, rear space, seating flexibility, boot. Was your nickname at school Lurch? If so, fear not, because you'll have no trouble fitting in the front of any of these cars. All have head, like an elbow room to spare. Each also has enough space for 2 tall people in the back. The Q5 has the least knee room, while the XC60 and 7 Crossback provide a similar amount. The 7 Crossback offers the most rear headroom, followed by the Q5 and the XC60, although an optional, £1,200, panoramic sunroof didn't help matters in the latter S case. A middle rear seat passenger will be happiest in the 7 Crossback. Its floor is almost flat, whereas the others, particularly the Q5, have tall, wide floor humps to straddle. The Q5 takes the spoils for boot space, though. It took the most carry-on suitcases, 9, 1 over the XC60 and 2 more than the 7 Crossback, and that was with the latter S optional dual-height boot floor at its lowest setting. While neither of the other 2 offers that feature, the Q5 has something even more useful, the option of sliding and reclining rear seats, £350, that allow you to lengthen the boot at the expense of rear legroom. Choose this and you also get the added flexibility of 40/20/40 split rear seats instead of the standard 60/40 arrangement. The other 2 cars come with a 60/40 split only. Q5 can take the most carry-on suitcases, with the optional sliding and reclining rear seats all the way forward. You get even more luggage space, plus a 40/20/40 split. All 3 cars offer lots of front head and legroom, and the Q5 has plenty of storage space, too. It's the only car here with the option of sliding and reclining rear seats, shown, which allow you to prioritize rear legroom or boot length. Arona has the narrowest boot, but you'll fit lots more in it than you will the Kona S. A height-adjustable boot floor comes as standard. Best for rear knee room, although foot space could be better. It's also rather annoying that the rear door pillar is right beside your head, because it means you have to crane your neck forward to get a good view out of the window. XC60's boot is a practical shape but shallower than the Q5's. As standard, all 3 cars' rear seats split 60/40, but the XC60 and 7 Crossback have the bonus of a ski hatch. Panoramic sunroof, £1,200, eats into front headroom, but it's still fine for a 6-footer. It's slightly worse in the rear, so check before you buy. On paper, there's more rear leg room than in the 7 Crossback, but in reality, both feel very similar.